the January 13th, 2022 meeting of the Parker Planning Commission to order at 7:01. Would you please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance? Eric, would you lead us, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Attendance absent is Ruth Ann. Seated for Ruth Ann is Roxy. Absent is Abbas. All other members present. Are there any additions to or deletions from the agenda?
No, there are not.
Thank you, Stacy. Approval of minutes. First, the Planning Commission meeting minutes from 11/18/2021. Are there any additions, corrections to those minutes? No?
No.
Do we have a motion to approve?
I motion to approve Planning Commission meeting minutes for 11/18/21.
I'll second.
It's been moved from November 18th, 2021. Please record your vote on the screen.
There we go.
Passes unanimously. Next, the Planning Commission meeting minutes from December 9th, 2021. Are there any additions, corrections to those minutes?
No, sir.
No.
No.
Or do we have a motion?
I move that we approve the Planning Commission meeting minutes from 12/19/2021. 12/9/2021.
I'll second.
Is that you? Okay. It was moved by Rich, seconded by Roxy, that we approve the Planning Commission meeting minutes from December 9th, 2021. Signify your vote again. And that passes unanimously as well. Next item, number 6A, is Parker Hilltop Square, Lot 10, car wash use by special review. And we will open the public hearing at 7:04. Julia, we're all yours.
Great. Happy New Year. Good evening, Chairman and Commissioners. Thank you for having me here this evening. Before you is a request for a use by special review for a car wash. The site is located on the northwest corner of Parker Road and 20 Mile Road. The applicant is proposing a use by special review for a tunnel drive-through car wash. The project site is currently undeveloped. There is a significant grade change on the property. The site is approximately 17 feet lower than the adjacent rights-of-way of Parker Road and 20 Mile. This grade change shields the majority of any development on the project site from the view of the right-of-way. The property is located within a central commercial area as designated by the Parker 2035 Master Plan. The central commercial district encompasses the commercial core of the town and is intended to serve core retail and service needs of the surrounding residents. Due to its central location with access to Parker Road, Dransfeld Road, and 20 Mile Road, and current land uses, growth in this character area should focus on core retail, services, offices, lodging, restaurants, or entertainment. The site is zoned PD, Greater Downtown Market Center, and car washes are listed as a use by special review in the zoning district. The proposed development will consist of a new single-bay tunnel car wash and associated features, including vacuums. An office, equipment rooms, and bathroom will also be provided on site. The car wash requires site plan approval to meet the town's site plan and development design standards. The applicant has submitted the site plan application, which is concurrently being processed under project number SP 21-041. The Parker Pavilions is developed with multi-tenant commercial retail and services. It includes PetSmart, Mattress Firm, and Office Depot. The car wash provides an additional service for residents at the retail center, which is anchored by an office and pet store. The car wash will enhance the viability of the commercial development by providing additional services to Parker residents. Staff has reviewed the proposal and has determined that the project is consistent with the master plan and the use will be consistent with the surrounding area, and it will not result in an overuse of the land, create traffic congestion, or be detrimental to the town. Staff has also reviewed the proposal and has determined that the project satisfies the 9 criteria required in the Land Development Ordinance for a use by special review, and referral agency comments have been addressed. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission recommend that the Town Council approve the Parker Hilltop Square car wash use by special review to allow a car wash, subject to the 2 conditions contained in staff's report. This concludes my report. I'm available to answer any questions you may have. Late this afternoon, we did receive 1 email comment from the public, and that will be entered into the record. We also have the applicant here to answer any questions if you have any.
Questions for Julia?
Julia, what kind of signage is this property going to have? Are they going to have signage from Parker Road, visible from Parker Road?
Signage is required under a separate permit. It's not reviewed in the site plan process, so any future signage would have to adhere to our municipal code requiring square footage. And
Thank you.
So will access continue? I can't picture it, but I mean, I can picture kind of that area. There's a kind of almost a middle lane road that goes between the 2 sets of commercial buildings. Will that just continue to the car wash, and that'll be the only
And there is a site plan in the presentation. There's no changes to external access to the site. There's an interior drive access aisle in the existing parking lot, and there's just an entrance and exit for this site within that internal parking lot.
Any other questions?
I'm familiar with that shopping center and the, if they're going to be using that access road that kind of runs in front of like the PetSmart and Office Depot and everything like that, the asphalt's pretty beat up there. Is there anything that they can do to maybe improve that access road, or is that technically private property that we don't have?
So the drive aisle that would enter into this parking lot is actually adjacent to the orthodontist on the south side. Any repavement or re-asphalting would likely be an obligation of the master owner of the development. That's something, if they come in for another application, we could always request.
Gotcha.
No, nothing back from me.
Questions for the applicant?
None for me.
No? Okay. Then we will, as this is a public hearing, we will open the discussion to public comment. Whether you're on the Zoom application or you're here in person, you may have a 3-minute period for your comment. We ask you to hold to that, please. And now would be a good time to use the raise your hand feature on the Zoom application if you wish to be heard at this meeting. And if you have a comment on this, please step forward to the podium and state your name and address for the record.
So I just promoted Kenneth Ramsey to speak.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, very good. My name is Kenneth Ramsey. I live at 3862 Elm Avenue, Parker, Colorado, 80134. At the intersection of 20 Mile Road and Parker Road are prairie dogs. For many years, I've enjoyed parking by the pet store there and watching these prairie dogs. This is a small prairie dog colony and are a joy to watch. Some burrows in this area are located next to a street or next to a sidewalk or between a sidewalk and a street or between a property line and a sidewalk or a street. So some burrows are on Town of Parker property or on Colorado Department of Transportation property. And accurate surveys are required before all construction, so we will all know which burrows are not on private property. And there are large power lines, electric utility easements strung east-west through here too. I ask that the prairie dogs on Town of Parker property and on the Colorado Department of Transportation property be protected and allowed to stay where they are. Our Douglas County Open Space and Natural Resources Director is on record stating that, quote, killing prairie dogs without the property owner's permission is a crime, unquote. I ask that the Town of Parker and the Colorado Department of Transportation deny permission to kill prairie dogs on their properties here. If permission is ever granted, I will ask to see this in writing for everyone interested to view. And as always, I ask that the prairie dogs on the proposed car wash site be safely and properly relocated in warm weather months. And I would just add that people, wildlife, and ecosystems are assets and stakeholders, not liabilities. Cooperation between species makes life on Earth possible. Every creature does something important that no other creature can do. Our most valuable wildlife are our keystone species, including prairie dogs. The goal of protecting our wildlife and our prairie ecosystems for future generations can be reached if we act now. Climate change and unraveling ecosystems are clear signs that learning to love Mother Nature is urgent because Mother Nature always wins. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ramsey.
I am now going to ask Siobhan.
Okay.
I think.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes. Go ahead, Siobhan.
My name is Siobhan Cox. Thank you. I live at 42943 Vista Ridge Road, Parker, 80138. My primary concern with this project is like Ken's. It's the prairie dogs that are located on the site of the proposed car wash and the adjacent properties. In accordance with the town's prairie dog ordinance, a number of us are interested in exploring with the developers the possibility of relocating the animals on the site to another location. As you may know, relocation is a multi-step process that includes the need to find a receiving site for the animals, which is probably the most difficult part of it all. Nevertheless, to see if relocation is possible, we would like to speak with the developers and to get more information about their timetable for development. If, however, relocation of the prairie dogs on the property isn't feasible and development moves forward, the prairie dog ordinance requires humane extermination of the prairie dogs on the property. I do not want to see either the development itself or the humane extermination be allowed to impact prairie dogs that live on adjacent properties that are not owned by the car wash's developer. In particular, building materials such as dirt and concrete shouldn't be placed on burrows on adjacent properties that are owned by CDOT and the town of Parker, those specifically being on the hillsides leading up to Parker Road and 20 Mile Road respectively. And very importantly, if carbon monoxide or a similar product is used on the prairie dogs on the car wash property, the exterminator should not be permitted to also exterminate prairie dogs on adjacent properties. While this would seemingly be an obvious point, we are nevertheless aware of times when exterminations have happened on properties adjacent to where they are supposed to be happening. One other issue I'd like to address is a general concern about whether there's a need for another car wash in Parker. According to many surveys of Parker area residents, The general consensus is that we have too many banks, storage units, and car washes. There are currently 2 already in very close proximity to this planned additional car wash. One is located at Pavilion and 20 Mile Road. The other is the Hilltop Car Wash located near Hilltop and Pine Drive. We're also concerned with traffic leaving the car wash. Even now, as you may know from your own experience, trying to make a left-hand turn onto Pavilion Drive out of the area near the PetSmart and Office Depot can be very challenging. Again, though, if this project moves forward, our first choice is to explore the possibility of a relocation of prairie dogs living on the site. I know that my email address and that of Linda Wilson have already been provided to members of the developer's team. I would be happy also to provide my phone number as well via an email or via Julia Duncan if she would not mind doing so.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Cox.
If there's anybody else on Zoom that would like to speak, please raise your hand. We don't have anyone.
Seeing no further public comment, we will close the public comment portion of the meeting. Julia, the town has the policy about prairie dog that was the council passed, and that applies to this site. Would that be correct?
Yes, the prairie dog ordinance is in effect and applicable townwide.
So that is how that will be administratively handled.
The applicant would have to be in adherence with that if prairie dogs were on the site after the approval of a site plan. There's a pause in which they need to relocate the prairie dogs or humanely exterminate them.
Okay. Further questions for Julia?
None from me.
Julia, for the record, what's that time frame of the stay?
They have 30 days prior to the issuance of any grading permits. During that time, they need to actively pursue relocation and show documented evidence to the town that they've done that in accordance with local state legislation.
Great, thank you.
Julia, I do have a concern with the last speaker that spoke about traffic. So when you come off of 20 Mile into that shopping center, and that first right will go down to the car wash, is there any way to have that street only a right turn in so that you can't come out and do a left turn? Because I know traffic backs up a lot there, and make that left turn out of there farther down or more to the north, and all you can do is a right in towards the car wash. Is there any way to enforce or have the property owner or somebody, whoever, traffic control, whoever makes those decisions?
There was a traffic conformance letter submitted with both the use by special review and the site plan, which our traffic engineer did review. There was, as long as queuing occurs on the project site, there were no additional recommendations or mitigation measures as far as traffic, but that's something I'd be happy to review with our engineering team through the site plan process.
Yeah, I think that should be done, because right now, even trying to get out on a left turn there is bad, and it would probably get even worse with the car wash going in.
So I have a quick question. In the project area, I'm looking at our packet. Is the buffer actually owned by CDOT, or is it owned by the town of Parker with the CDOT right-of-way?
So on the Parker side, it's the CDOT right-of-way. On the 20 Mile side, it's the town of Parker. There is a slope easement off of 20 Mile.
Which is the state?
Which is on their, no, that slope easement is on their property. So on the Parker portion, which is to the east of the project site, that's CDOT right-of-way. To the south, along 20 Mile, the right-of-way is the town of Parker's.
Okay, but the right-of-way by CDOT is owned by is it a right-of-way through the town of Parker? Or does CDOT actually own that piece of property?
CDOT owns that
Okay.
property.
Okay.
Is it appropriate now to ask the applicant some questions?
Yes,
Okay.
you can.
I wanted to also address our public speakers that came in, Kenneth Ramsey and Siobhan Cox, and just ask kind of directly what resources in your plan is for prairie dog relocation at this particular parcel, and also the timeline for development.
Yeah, so Commissioner Collette, thank you for that question. And we have reached out to several agencies within the area in the valley. I guess, are you guys in the valley here or basin? Regarding the prairie dogs, I've done development up here for the last probably 10, 15 years, so I'm very well versed in having to deal with the prairie dog situations in other jurisdictions. And so, Julia brought that to our attention that we do have prairie dogs on the site, so we do know that we have to take care of that problem. And, we understand the state regulation, Division of Game and Fish and Wildlife, as well as the Town of Parker ordinance that's put in place there. And so we'll comply with all measures to do what's right and in the best interest of the prairie dogs. We'll put our best foot forward like we have in other towns. We'll look to do the relocation and relocation programs first, and use the humane euthanization as a last resort. And obviously we'll take care of that as it relates to our property. We don't plan on going on anybody else's property and doing any sort of remediation for the prairie dogs.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anything else?
Nothing.
No? All right. Then we will close the public hearing at 7:22. Commissioner discussion?
I appreciate your, your willingness to work with some of the folks who are concerned about the prairie dogs in this area. And of course, if it's not your property, you really can't go on it and do a whole lot. So
Sure.
I know you know that. This area is going to be developed somewhere along the way. So we don't really have a say as to whether a bank or a car wash or a grocery store goes in. It's the developer's decision. So
Yeah.
Thanks for the presentation.
And just as a general comment, I know Commissioner Forrester, you talked about the traffic down there at the end. We'll certainly bring that up with the with the ownership group over there and talk about that. And we'll be addressing roadway conditions too. That's, part of the CCNRs and the CAM fees and stuff that we pay. We'll be pressing to make sure that those road conditions are upkept and stuff, because it's for the benefit of us, and we're contributing financially to that as well. So we will address both of those issues with them and see what they can do about it. We'll work with PetSmart, some of the anchor chains there. We've already spoken with the declarants on the access part of it and gained declarant approval through the CCNRs and REAs, but we'll be able to talk to them a little bit more and let them know that there is a concern from the town of Parker, that the quality of the asphalt there and the potential for not so safe left out traffic coming down that is one of your guys' concerns, and we will put our best foot forward to address that with the group.
Thank you.
Yep.
Commissioner discussion, continue?
Nothing further?
Yeah, I think they meet the criteria as outlined. I'm in support.
Yeah, I think most of all the criteria they've met those, just the concern about the traffic right in and no left out or something like that, and try to really address that. But I'm for approving this, moving it forward.
I would agree and concur with my fellow commissioners. It looks like it meets the criteria, so do we have a motion?
I move Planning Commission recommend Town Council approve the Parker Hilltop Square L10 car wash used by special review, request to allow a car wash subject to two conditions contained in staff report. The car wash shall receive site plan approval by January 18th, 2023, within 12 months of the use by special review approval. And point number 2, the approved site plan shall be generally consistent with the concept site plan exhibit upload to the case file, track it on December 17th, 2021.
And I'll second.
Been moved by Eliana, seconded by Rich, that Planning Commission recommend Town Council approve the Parker Hilltop Square Lot 10 car wash use by special review. Request to allow a car wash subject to the 2 conditions contained in staff's report. And that passes unanimously. Thank you, Julia. Are there any staff items, Stacy?
Yes, just a reminder, your next meeting is on January 27th, and there will be a study session ahead of time of that meeting where we will be talking about the Land Development Ordinance Modernization Project. So please plan on that, and we will see you then. That is it.
Thank you.
Do we have a motion to adjourn? Last 2 meetings, we weren't able to adjourn, Eric, because you weren't here.
So you guys are still here. I move to adjourn the January 13th, 2022 Planning Commission meeting.
I'll second.
Well, Eric moved, and I think several people on this end of the dais seconded. We'll go with Nick. And please signify your vote.
Don't vote no.
I didn't get a voting option.
Yes, so goodbye.
Believe.
Can you do a voice vote, please?
Okay, we can do a voice vote. All in favor of adjourning, aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous.
Don't get to lose the meeting.